Welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. Here we are live on this Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. We're also on the Breakthrough Show Network. And later you can catch us on our podcast. And next week we'll be drop loading our podcast a little early just because of Lionsgate. But this week we are so excited to have our guest with us, a new guest. We haven't had her on before, but she's the real deal. She's been talking to people here and talking to people in spirit when we were on our pre-show. We just love it. So drop in, have your comments. We're going to do some meditation. We're going to talk about healing. It's going to be a great show. Teresa, would you introduce our guest for us?
Oh, yes. I cannot wait to introduce you to Julie Dianne because I've known her over the years. And every time I've seen her or felt her energy, she's got the neatest high vibrations. And I was trying to think of where I first met you. And I think it was through Wendy Sue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember a time before that if we knew. I think it was there. And so I have to send gratitude that way too. And it's exciting the things that you do. It's like, wow, you're just exactly one of us, like family here. And so I'm really excited. So welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light, Julie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. It's such a joy to be here with you all. I did prepare a little meditation. Would it be a good time for us to go ahead and do that?
Well, first, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll go into meditation while all the people are coming in to the show.
Sure. So I was sharing with Rhonda and Teresa as we were preparing for the show today that ever since I was a little girl, I could see the people who have departed, and I used to play with them, and we would have tea parties and all kinds of things together, right? But at the time, I didn't really, as a child of 3 or 4 or 5, I didn't understand, especially if my parents were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm playing with my friends. Can't you, like I didn't understand why my mom didn't see them too, or why my dad didn't see them too, or, they just thought I had imaginary friends." And later on in life, when I had my awakening, and Teresa and I were talking, it was when I was about 45 years old. The veil was lifted, and then everything started to make sense. And during that time, and during the evolution of me becoming open to spirit and to the angels and to people who have transitioned, I started realizing I'd always had that gift, and I just didn't recognize it, didn't know what it was. And Rhonda was teasing me before the show, but I do have office hours because people who are departed do not necessarily understand our time and everything. And like the human body needs its sleep. And so when I was first having visitors come to me, they would show up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta sleep. I have kids and I have family and I have all these things tomorrow. And so then I just started making my own boundaries and being like, okay, you can come during the daytime. And while I'm asleep, no visitors, you're not allowed. And it was too funny because one of Rhonda's relatives showed up last night, and I said, I see you, and you can come back tomorrow when I'm with Rhonda. But for right now, guess what? I need to get my sleep. So that kind of brings you, I think, up to sort of like the present moment of me just studying then and becoming like understanding oracle readings, understanding tarot, letting spirit and angel guide me. And then, of course, all the gifts that came with that. And then, just learning to step into that and really embrace it and help people heal. Because sometimes all you need to heal is just to be seen, to be validated, and to be understood. And I think that makes a big difference for people.
I so truly appreciate how you've made yourself available, because I know these things aren't easy. And that's why when I was reading your bio and looking at your beautiful website page, and is explaining about you, it's like, oh my God, she's the butterfly queen of transformation. That's what came to me. And you are, and that's how you assist people. And so maybe now we could do that grounding meditation real quick, and we'll talk about more of the ways that you help people get to these transformations.
Absolutely.
You ready,
All right.
Rhonda? Okay.
Okay, so if we can all just close your eyes and relax, I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths. So let's inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale one last time and hold it. And exhale. At this time, I would like for you to imagine some roots growing out of the bottoms of your feet. And those roots are making their way through their shoes. The roots are going down into the ground wherever you are, down through the floor of the home that you're in, or the car that you're in, or the park that you're in, down past the water pipes and the sewer area. They keep stretching down, down, down through the layers, past the fossils, the coals, the diamonds. And finally, those roots connect down into Mother Earth. They wrap around her. Just sit in this for a moment, feeling the energy of Mother Earth as she folds herself around you, as she brings you peace, as she rejuvenates you. I like to think of it as energy going down our feet, down the roots into Mother Earth, and then asking Mother Earth to transmute our energy and refresh it and rejuvenate us as it comes back into our body. Just sit with that energy. You are grounded into Mother Earth. You are protected. You are loved. You are valued. When we begin to open our eyes soon, you will feel rejuvenated. You will feel free. The cares that you had that were weighing you down have now been transmuted by Mother Earth, and she will continue to go with you throughout the rest of this day. Deep breath in and deep breath out, and you can open your eyes. Wonderful.
Okay, I forgot I was muted. Rhonda, you're muted too.
Sorry. I said thank you, because that always just settles everyone so down so they can hear, and the brain becomes unscattered, and it does rejuvenate you, right? When your energy can travel all the way through your body and doesn't get stuck in all those stone places.
My feet were all tingling. Woo-hoo.
I know.
I love it.
I got goosebumps everywhere.
I love that. So Julie, as the butterfly queen of transformation, there's a lot of things I'm wondering. So I'm going to try to ask them like one at a time, but it's all jumbled in here. It's like, I kind of want to know, like, what led you into, because transformation is deep, it's like transition, but deeper, you know what I mean? And it's really deep work to do with people. And I appreciate that. So how did you decide that this is where you would like to have your service for the people?
Sure. Well, it starts with a personal story. I was, I'm going to use the word indoctrinated into the church growing up, and thought that there were all these things that I had to be. Right. That stress, along with trying to homeschool and raise 5 children and be the perfect mom and the perfect wife and the perfect all these things, led to a moment in my life where I did not want to be here anymore. And it was literally during that moment, that decision of, no, I don't want my kids to find their mom in the bathroom. That's not something I would want to leave them with. And that darkness, that whole thing was this huge catalyst for me, right? And I had to make a decision at that moment. And my decision was, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, but I'm going to find out who I am. And I'm going to get away from all this indoctrination that I grew up with, and let's see what else is out there.
Wow.
And it literally propelled me forward to help me with my awakening and the transition of my life. But here's the meat of it, though, Teresa. I'm not alone. There are so many other women and men out there who have that same feeling. Like, I can't do this one more day. I can't. I can't. It's so overwhelming and it feels so heavy. And so at that moment, I was like, you know what? As I began to transform and I began to heal, I realized this is for everybody. It happened to me, and I'm grateful for that experience. But now I need to share that because I'm not alone. Sorry. I literally feel like that's my purpose now here on earth, is to share that joy with other people and to help other people who feel trapped, who feel like they're in the dark of that cocoon, if you want to use the butterfly. They can't see that their wings are going to be beautiful. They can't see that when their wings dry, they're going to be able to fly. They can't see any of that. All they can feel is that being stuck in the dark all alone. And that was like my biggest moment. Absolutely.
So you're here to support everyone and to be there and walk with them through this. That's so beautiful.
Yes.
I grew up in a religion that most people call a cult, so I don't know whether it is or not or whatever, but man, there's a lot of changing, unlearning that you have to do. And it's like, they're thinking one way of you, and that's where you grew up and formed your opinions of yourself. And so what an amazing breakthrough, or shall we say transformation, to go from, like you said, being stuck into the freedom that we come to. And we're just as loving. Like, even when they come to my door still, it's like, I do work with Christ. I work with that energy every day. It's not the same as what you guys do. And they walk away from the door real fast, but I know I'm okay because I haven't.
Yes.
And so I love that I'm sorry, but I mean, I love that you understand and that you've been through that too, because I'm sure a lot of people totally been there. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. And so, when people come to you for transformation and help, where is it they're starting? Like, are they at the beginning of it, or are they, man, I've been going through this for years, or you know what I mean? What do they come to you with the most?
Sure. I would say the majority of people that I am working with currently are people who have had that awakening process, and they're now releasing what no longer serves them, including relationships, family members, wherever, helping them set healthy boundaries. And then just really like helping them be seen, helping them be heard, validate what they're feeling. And we can do that with, I do life coaching as well, but mostly for those clients, it's let's have the Reiki session. Let's go through all the chakras. And at that time, we're able to uncover what the blocks are or have been, right, that are in the past. And then we pray through and we open those and we do a lot of energy work, helping move the energy to catch up to what it is they want to do and be now. And that's just it's a beautiful, beautiful process. I do an hour Reiki distance healing. And I use crystals and I use essential oils and I write down everything that spirit tells me. And then I'm able to go over that with them later. And just helping them implement, small changes. Just, you can start with that Reiki and really open everything up and get your chakras moving and flowing and that energy going. And then you can use that to propel forward, which I know is something that Rhonda mentioned before the interview today. That Reiki for her was that catalyst of really opening herself up for more energy and how to use that energy to help herself, but also for others.
Yeah. I totally love that. She's always saying that it's the gateway, that Reiki is the gateway and stuff. And what I love about it, and because the Akashic records and then Reiki, the Akashic records are, people say they're here, they're there, but they're also within our eighth layer of DNA. And the ninth layer is where the healing comes from. And so they really work together to bring that healing to us. Like we can go to our healthiest past life and then bring in some of the things that we ate or thought, or how we felt about things. And so those two, our DNA is all working together. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It absolutely is. And for me personally, it was my first Akashic record reading that really was the catalyst for me for opening my eyes and just knowing some of those things. I'm like, oh, that explains why I've always felt this way, because of that life, because of that persecution, because of what happened then. Okay, that's not mine now. I can release it for now, for this timeline, right? And I think that that's another tool that I use with my clients too. I I recently had a client that for lack, I'm a little flabbergasted, but for lack of a better word, she lost the love of her life, and they kept saying that sometime later, right? You know how we do that. So in the future we're going to meet, we're going to settle down. In the future we're going to meet and settle down, and then unexpectedly he was taken from this plane of existence. And so helping her go through the Akashic records and refocusing and recentering herself on what her gifts are. And we were able to see that she and he are together in another timeline. And that brought her such comfort. And I could see her daughter, their daughter with them. And it just, like, I can't explain what it did for her, but I could see the difference in her, after the Akashic record reading was over, and just having that validation and knowing that he's around her. He's always like watching out for her, watching over her. I mean, and she just, yeah, I got goosebumps. And it was just the most amazing, transformative for her,
It gives
for
people
her.
hope. It gives
Yes,
people hope that even if we screw everything up this time, we have a do-over later on. I mean,
yes,
we should try to do all our lessons and work through this life the best we can, but missed chances are just lessons and a way to grow in a different way than we perceived, right?
yes,
And we put those people in our path for a reason
yes,
before we came. And that's a hard thing to wrap around. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to learn from that? Doesn't seem like there's anything I should learn from this. Like, but we're always cursing, like,
yes,
why would God do this to it? Sorry,
yes.
don't blame it on God. You did it to
No,
yourself, and it's
yes,
for a reason, right?
yes, absolutely.
It's nice that
One
you
of
can give them that gift of maybe just a different way of looking at things, right?
Yes, and for her, that's what it was. It kind of helped bring her out of that dark spot, because it was all like, how we all do when we're hurting. Everything's internalized, and we're only seeing ourselves instead of the bigger picture. And so, yeah, allowing people to, I'm like, that's valid. What you're feeling is valid, but now let's look at where you're at, and let's look at what's coming for you, and yeah, it can really, I think you're right. You spot on. Hope. It's a huge, huge catalyst for change for people.
That's beautiful. I love that. Um, when when I started first reading the Akashic records, we had to read like a bunch of our people for free for 30 days, just to get that experience, and it was blown away. And so I got to read people like Rhonda and people that do Reiki. And what I learned about Reiki that came through to me was that man, the angels, one, they consider that you're on the front line and they're back here behind you and supporting you, and they're working things to get their people to you. Hey, go meet
Hmm.
this lady, or and
Yes,
stuff. But I could just see their energy coming through the hands, the heart, and the third eye. I was
yes,
wondering, once you learned Reiki, did it step up your experiences with angels and stuff too?
yes, absolutely, without a doubt. The I think both the Reiki, however you want to say it, and the Akashic records that just opened up like angels. And then I started and began working with specific angels more. And I would research more about them, find out everything I could about them. And then it was like, let's learn about this angel. And then my spirit guides, I met them, through both of those, through the Reiki when I had my attunement and through the Akashic record attunement. And that's just like, but yeah, so all of that became more through that transformative process. Absolutely.
Wow.
Do you think
Isn't that
those things
incredible?
help you hold your vibration higher so you like they can reach down and you can reach up with your vibrations? It's an easier match just by having those tools in your toolkit. It just helps hold your vibration higher. So when you sink, you don't sink as far. I mean,
Yes.
everybody sinks. That's life's like this. That's like a heartbeat. I mean, if it was like this, then we'd be dead. But it helps you reach up a little higher, maybe. Than
I would agree with that, because before the awakening, like if I go back to speak to the idea of that indoctrination, it was always like I was alone. I didn't have spirit guides. I didn't have angels. It was just me, like, against the world. And that's a lie.
Yeah.
We all have angels and loved ones around us all the time. Teresa has 7. I can see 7 angels around you right now. And Rhonda's room is standing room only.
Wow.
Between her spirit guides and her family members. I mean, it's just like that's what I can see, right? And it's just, but people don't know that all the time. And so I feel like that's one of the gifts that, we need to share, because now that you know that, like, how could you ever not know that? Do you know what I mean? You can't unknow it now.
It's true for my journey, and like I said, leaving the religion and losing the family and all that. When it came down to it, Rhonda and the other people in our Akashic Records class, man, they could see angels and they were talking about him, and I'm like, how do they do that? And I'm thinking, oh, it's not fair, because this was my beginning, okay?
Yes.
And then finally I got opened up to the angels. But once you get to open up and you're understanding them, you're talking to them, it's like, wow, you guys are so powerful. But you get to look back at your past, and I can look back into my teenage years and younger.
Yes.
It's like when I thought no one was there, they were there. And I can understand I wasn't asking for help from them because I was already conditioned to not believe in them. So they weren't, to me, they weren't there for me when I was going through it. But now I can look back and, oh my God, they really were there for me. And then my little heart melts, and it's beautiful.
Yes. I had an angel that appeared to me when I was, when I was 3. And it's actually a recent memory that's been unlocked through some emotional healing. But at the time I was so traumatized because I actually saw him. He actually showed me, like, he glowed, the whole room lit up and everything. And he didn't mean for it to be a trauma. He literally was there because he knew I needed that at that time. Like, I really felt, it was so dark at the time, whatever was happening at that age. And so now, like, I can look at that and I go, oh my gosh, look what they did. Look how they showed up. And oh my, it's just amazing. But I definitely agree with you that they are not, like, up in front of us. They're always back here. They're like your cheerleading crew. They're always saying, hey, Teresa, you can do this. You got this. We know you're doing it. Hey, Rhonda, good job. Keep up the good work. And it's amazing when you have that type of support.
Wow. So now I'm wondering, what are your clairs that are most common? Do you know, are you like all clairs open, or which ones come through the most?
The the most recent one, and my spirit guides, I can hear them. They're laughing. Their baton is off. They're laughing. Their batooties off. I don't know what you want to call it. They think it's hilarious. It's taste, and it's not a fun one because, for example, I had a spirit come forward person who had, passed, and all of a sudden I could taste cigarettes.
Oh,
It was just, I was about to throw up, and I looked around and nobody was smoking, and I was like, what? And at first I didn't put the two and two together. So it took me some practice and some time with spirit to understand that that's somebody reaching out to me. So now when something like that happens, I can go, okay, who's here? Please step forward. How can I help you? And then we can move forward from there. But it's just weird. Sometimes it'll be like fat. You taste fat, like out of nowhere.
Oh.
I don't want that, Claire. Sorry.
Yeah, right. I know. They're laughing. You should hear them. They're laughing so hard.
Smell is
They're
bad
like,
enough.
yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but yeah, that's been an interesting one that I'm still kind of like, I don't know that I want it, but every time it's come, it's been like an amazing situation happens thereafter. So.
Wow. Yeah, I'm thinking.
In my real life, my nose doesn't actually work. It just holds my glasses up, But
yeah.
Psychically, I could smell more. Like if you're talking about roses or carnations or whatever, I start to smell it that way. Isn't that weird?
That's really cool. And Rhonda, you said you have the gift of smell?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a gift sometimes. Yeah, I didn't connect what I could smell with what was going on until I had my friend with me one day, and she sees people.
Oh, okay.
And she was looking, and I went, "Oh, I smell dead people. That's what that smell is." And
Wow.
I just laughed, and I said, "They smell like old books or something. I can't even tell you. It smells like when I go into old places, I go, oh, this place smells." Like old moldy books, and that's what dead people. But I have smelled cigarettes, and I have smelled my mom, who smells like oil of Olay. So I always know when she's around. Like I'll get a whiff of oil of Olay, like she used to wear before she went to bed, that pink one.
Yes, I remember that.
Like, kind of like roses or something, But yeah, other times it's But when I went to the hospital, oh man, that was not a good Claire to have.
Oh no. No,
different places were okay, but I got into one room and I said, I have to get out of here. That smell.
Can't even breathe. Yeah.
Dave says, bring out your rocks. I have all my rocks.
I love that. Make a boundary, set up a safe space. Let's pour some cinnamon, put our crystals out.
Sorry. These are my crystals.
We can't explain it to them. They wouldn't understand, I don't think.
Nurses were a little bit more, anyways. So what sort of explain how your services work now?
Sure. So I have a website, www.thejulieDianne.com, and people can go there and book an appointment with me. At this time, I'm offering the distance Reiki healing. I'm offering, we call it channeled tarot, because we also open it up for family who has passed, loved ones that want to step forward and send you a message. And all of that is intuitively guided. Not reading the books anymore. It's all straight from spirit and from the angels, to give you the messages. And it's so cool because like I've got clients, I'll be sitting there doing a reading and they won't say anything. And I'll say, does this feel good for you? Is this kind of like, are we spot on? And they're like, yeah, keep going. And then at the end, they reveal how much it blew their socks off because it was like spot on. And so that's just like,
isn't it terrible to always be tested? Like, I mean, like you can validate some of this stuff. So I'm not going off to the North Pole and you're on the South Pole.
Exactly. And then I also just graduated the Akashic Record reading course that I signed up for. So I also offer the Akashic Record reading. Let's see, life coaching, tarot reading, the channeled. We can also do a 30-minute channeling if you just want to see, speak with members of the family who just have messages for you or, want to give you some wisdom in part.
Wow.
So
I can imagine that they all kind of bleed into each other, though. Like, it's like, you're trying to do Reiki and people pop up.
Yes.
Reiki sessions.
Yes, they do everywhere. Yeah, it all does. You're right. It just I'm like, it's not like it's just one area that's channeled, because it's all channeled, it's all spirit, it's all divinely guided. And I'll get words of knowledge about something that happened to them in their past, and it'll come out, and then, we address it, and then there's healing that takes place because of it. Absolutely. It definitely is. It's not like you just have just a card reading. Oh no, it's when you're open to all the energy.
I know that.
And do you do in person as well as, or is it all virtual? No.
I do. I mean, I offer in person. I just, at this point, it's been all virtual because my clients, I have some that are all the way over in Ireland.
Right.
And it's just easier for them to do it online. Yeah.
Yeah. What a blessing.
In person is fun. I mean,
Yes.
for us, like I find it really fun to lay my hands on people.
Yes.
But that sounds really off. I do. I love doing hands-on healing. I really enjoy that interaction. And,
Yes.
if you get a Reiki session with me, it's usually not just an hour. I'm sorry. I cannot.
I know, right? I don't stop until because that's what you're saying. We're intuitively guided. And so until I get all that gunk pulled out and put somewhere else and clean that chakra up for them, we keep going. We don't stop because of a time.
So, yeah. Most, and then they become my friends, and I just keep getting more people in the room. Now, what's new? What's next for you? Are you teaching, or are you doing anything? Are you writing a book, or what's going on?
That's really wonderful. Let me see if I have an answer for you. At this time in my private Facebook group, I am offering a weekly energy report for free. And the reason I'm doing that is for a lot of reasons. I experienced a weekly energy report reading, a couple of years ago, and I would follow them, and it was always spot on. And it was really great to know what kind of energy was coming, so that we could be aware, so we could use our tools to prepare for that. And for example, last week in the group, there was a day that was about traveling, moving, that kind of energy, right? And somebody messaged me, "Oh, I just booked my tickets to go to Italy this week." And I said, see, that was the energy. That's exactly what we're talking about. And then I had another friend who's she's preparing to move. But that was the energy on, I believe it was Wednesday. So I'm really just trying to give back, if that makes sense, and really help people to get a grasp. Because if for example, that the energy is, we had a card last week where there's a tree that fell onto the road, and you're in your horse and buggy, and the tree's in front of you. Guess what? You can't go forward. You're going to have to wait. So knowing that energy's coming during the week for you can give you, okay, I'm going to sit and pause. I'm going to, do some deep breathing. I'm going to ground, I'm going to talk to my crystals. We're not going to panic, right? That's the biggest thing, because the tree is in the road. And so that's really where my focus is really sharing that with others, so that they can have a real understanding of, okay, this is what we're going to have in this week. Tomorrow is a peaceful day. So it's just sit in that peaceful energy. There's not a lot going on tomorrow, just allow yourself to rest and relax. And that happens a lot. We'll see after big energy comes through. You'll have a day where spirit's let's just slow down, let's just give it a break.
So needed to integrate in all kinds of things. I mean, you can't just skip through those things. So thank goodness for the rest times.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I know what tarot deck you were using, the Akashic tarot, weren't you?
Yes.
Because as soon as you said it, I remember that picture, the buggy in the car. Yeah.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, I love that. That's by we haven't had, it's Sandra Ann Taylor. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've asked her to come on. Sandra, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah,
please
do.
Or your twin. Doesn't matter. We'd love to have you both. It's I love the artwork in that deck. And I have it for that, even though I don't usually read tarot. I usually just read angel cards.
And then I have one client who, she is literally a fairy queen.
Oh.
And she reincarnated here, and she has so many fairies, hundreds of fairies
Oh,
around her
wow.
all the time. And so I have like 3 decks that I use that are fairy decks specifically when I read for her. But like her fairies will come forward and say things to me, and some of them are really sassy. She's like,
Yeah.
"I'm so sorry. I know that was sassy." And
Wow.
I go, "Oh, it's not for me. This message is for you." So she's being
Oh my
sassy to
God.
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
what
so cool.
fun. What
Yeah.
fun that they're still with her, even though she incarnated as human for whatever her purpose was and stuff, but they're all
Right.
still supporting her. Isn't that
Yes,
beautiful?
it is. It always gives me, I don't know, like goosebumps. The energy is always amazing. It just never ceases to amaze me. Like the more that we know, the more we don't know. And there's just so much out there for all of us to experience.
Yeah,
And
it's like once the veil is lifted, you can't unsee what you see or what you know is
yes,
around you. It's like,
yes,
it's okay. Yeah. So we usually have 3 questions.
yes.
And the first one, I'll ease you into it. The first one is, do you have a favorite crystal you like or you're working with, or do you like crystals? Well, who doesn't? Sorry. There
exactly.
are a few. There are a few people. A rock's a
Oh,
rock.
okay. Well, that's fair. To each their own. Yes, I have tons of crystals. My favorite thing that I didn't know for the longest time was that we can reprogram our crystals, and we can ask rose quartz to help us bring in self-care. Rose quartz is one of my big ones. I'm huge into self-care. Like that's one of my jams. I have a selenite tower on my altar right over there. I'm looking at. I love selenite. I also have a couple
Yes.
of selenite wands. For people that maybe aren't familiar, selenite can help you recharge other crystals. Of course, the full moon and the new moon can too.
And so can
But
Reiki.
so can the selenite. So I love using selenite. And then recently, just because of the amount of heavy energy that's around Earth and all the people, tourmaline, black
Oh,
tourmaline
yeah.
Yeah.
has been one of my favorite for protection, helping lift some. Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I picked that right out of the pit. So I was like,
Oh,
lovely.
that's cool. So yeah, and then I love amethyst. I mean, there's so many, but those are the ones. And then I
Like
have
trying to choose your
one.
favorite child.
Yes, exactly. You can't. And then I have one that's specifically for Akashic record reading,
Oh,
and it
nice.
stores data.
Oh,
So there's a metaphysical aspect to it that it can take all that data that we're downloading and it keeps it in a safe place for my clients. And that just kind of,
is that like a record keeper quartz or
yes, yes, it is.
Oh,
awesome?
neat.
Awesome. Yeah, one of those. She's over here somewhere.
Yep.
So the next one is, if you had a theme song for your life, what right now, what would it be? Do you have a jam, a favorite theme song?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so don't laugh, but
Maybe
do
had
you
everything.
know the Muffin Man?
Oh, how neat
Do
is
you know
that?
the Muffin Man? Oh, do you
Oh, the
know
share version.
the Muffin Man? Yeah, that's it.
Share version sung by the
Just
guy from.
because it doesn't matter what is happening in my life, it doesn't matter how heavy the energy is. If I start singing that share version of the Muffin Man, I instantly am reconnected to joy and happiness, and that's like a big thing for me. That's kind of where I usually hang out, and I know it sounds silly, but like it's
How
so
cool.
fun. Like how can you not? I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
that's what it's about. I love it. Music is a transition.
Yes. Music is very healing as well. It's extremely powerful for people.
Yeah, and the vibration and frequency, as we know, the
Yeah.
color, vibration, frequency, all those frequencies are very healing. And music, solfeggio tones, and music, it's all so
Yes.
gets right into our blood. Okay, the last one I have you had any encounters with UFOs, extra dimensionals, UPAs or whatever they want to call them this week now that they've decided they are real and we're not all imagining them?
Right?
Because of course, once it hits the New York Times, it's true, right, guys?
True. Yes.
Yeah. Before that, we were all crazy. But go ahead.
Yes. Actually, I was, I've had a couple of different experiences, but the one I'd like to share is we were stationed in Germany as an Army family. At that time, I had 3 children and made a brand new friend who had moved in upstairs from me who was really open to all those things and was sharing a lot of that with me. And in the middle of the night, I just had this feeling like something was missing. And I went around the rooms in the apartment. And when I came to my daughter's room, her bed's there. She should have been there. She wasn't there. She wasn't in her bed. And so then you know how you do as a mom, you panic. So then I went and I looked everywhere, like opened up all the closet doors. I opened up underneath the sink. I'm going through the entire house and she's nowhere to be seen. And so I call my neighbor from upstairs and I'm like, hey, where's my kid? And she goes, I know, my daughter's gone too. And I go, what? And she's like, they have them. And she was like, it was really interesting. She said, I'm perplexed because my grandmother made a deal with them and they promised not to take any of our family anymore. So she said, I don't know what has changed or shifted at this time, but they needed the girls to help them with something.
Wow.
And my daughter and her daughter as well are very intuitive, also empaths, have amazing gifts. And I can't remember the time between when I talked to the neighbor upstairs. That part blacks out. And the next thing I remember is going back into her room again and just knowing that everything was okay. And she was right in her bed with the covers still pulled up as if nothing had ever happened.
Wow.
As if she had never.
I can't imagine you not panicking and calling the police. It's like they just went into your brain and like hit the unpanic button or something.
Yes, they had to have, because it was really funny. The first time we talked about this story, Rhonda, you said, why didn't you call the police? And I don't know. But that wasn't an option for me. It didn't even register. It was to call Amber because, we had been talking about the aliens. And so, yeah, that was just, but I knew, like, I just knew. So.
And your daughter didn't have any memories of going away?
She does, but she has glimpses. So kind of like bits and pieces of dreams. What she's supposed to remember or what she can, if that makes sense, because our brains here in this timeline are so not malleable. So she has just enough of those memories that she can recall things. And the little girl that went with her, she still remembers. So they both remember being together and being gone, and that they were helping. That was the big thing. They were helping heal something. So there was a reason. So
wow,
amazing.
That is amazing and totally believable because anyways, another story for another day. Yeah, so that's awesome. But I've heard of people in a street where there's a UFO appears and only 2 people are looking up. The rest of everybody, they say, look up and see it. Everybody's got their head down as if they're being told not to look up, not to see it. Some people just don't even hear that command. They're looking up and pointing up. And you see that? You see that? Yeah, I see that. Do you see that? Nobody else is. No, I don't see it.
Yep. I believe it. I do. Yeah.
Well, I'm doing what they tell me to do. I'm not looking.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Absolutely.
So I'm just wondering, how many people don't look up at the sky? Everybody, when you go outside today and get your sunshine and get your grounding with Mother Earth, look up, study the clouds, take a good time to look up and see what you see and really pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more? Because you live in Tucson, Arizona, so that's like a hot spot. Do you see lights in the sky over there?
I have seen what looks like craft or ships for sure in the clouds. And they're not clouds. There's no way. But we talked about, again, when you're open to that spiritual experience and you start seeing angels and you can see dead people and you can see the things that we see, it doesn't surprise me that we can look up and see that for some of us, we can see those things. But then you're just like you, I'll even take a picture and I'll say, hey, what does this look like to you? Oh, clouds. It's a beautiful day. And I'm just like, you don't see the ship? Like, why can't you see the ship?
I get the hints to push and say, take a picture. And then I'll see the little tiny ships in the pictures. when I went to
Yeah.
Mount Shasta, I was taking pictures, and then you can see
Oh,
like Borg ships up there, and you're going like, and then you
that's
take a picture of
amazing.
Mount Shasta, and you see like a little tiny ship in the corner, and you're going,
Yeah,
I didn't see that with my naked eye.
Oh,
right.
wow.
I got chills. That's amazing.
But I can't see very well with my naked eye. I can see better with a camera lens because that's
Sure.
autofocus.
Well,
But
and my daughter and I took a trip to Sedona, which is a big energy spot here, obviously. And there was a lot of like we did a lot of portal jumping when we were in Sedona, which is kind of cool until like okay, say you go to the restaurant on Thursday night and you're looking at the menu and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're like, oh great. And then Friday you portal jump and you go back to the same restaurant and they have a completely different menu. And you're so
Oh,
like bummed out because you're like, well, I was going to order number 3 and now it's
oh,
not there. The menu's totally different.
oh, so weird, eh?
wow.
Wow.
It kind of makes you, I was talking to Bex about that earlier this week. It makes you just kind of question yourself for a minute because at least for my daughter and I, we can remember. So when we shift and we jump through different portals, we still have the memories.
Yeah. Can't
The
you
other,
remember that? Yeah,
yeah,
sure I remember that.
yeah.
That could explain my sister. Anyways, 'cause she always has different memories than us, and I'm thinking,
Okay.
is
That's
it
probably it.
us or
Right.
is it her? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually lost an app off my phone this week when we went through, what was it? July 7th, when we had the big portal jump. There was an app I went to go use that I
Right.
use every single day, gone, not there now in this reality.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on?
That is so strange.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, it's a trip.
It's like the Mandela effect magnified, right? So
Yeah.
Yes,
what else is
absolutely.
gonna go?
Yeah.
So, so that is so cool. Thank you so much for being with us. And next week we have Katie Steinley giving us the Lionsgate report, and she talks about
Yay.
frequency and she'll have biotones for us all. I am
Oh,
going to, after I put this one up on the podcast, probably release that a little bit early, like Thursday to the podcast, but it'll
yay.
the show will be at the normal time on Sunday, God willing, and the sun. God willing, the show will be programmed correctly this time, and it'll show up at the right time on Sunday. But I'll be out crystal hunting in Bancroft, Ontario, because
Ooh.
this weekend is the local show, and the next weekend is the big long weekend in Canada. And so they have the jamboree, but this weekend coming is the local show, and we're going to go to the local show and maybe go to the Sodalite mines, and there it's
Aw.
it's
That is
like the
very cool.
gemstone, like mineral capital of Canada or the world there, because they have so many
Yes.
different minerals because of the Canadian Shield and where it just is. So it's an awesome place. I wish you guys could all. I wish I could go to Phoenix, Tucson, but not now because you melt, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
After the heat.
Everybody's melting. I'm so sorry. Let's
Yes.
ask for cooler temperatures and manifest that, and just
Oh, yes. Thank you.
more and cooler temperatures and maybe a little bit of rain, not in the monsoon.
Yeah.
I just have one more piece of business, Teresa, and it's Beth Balcerzak. Beth, Balcerzak. You are our winner this week, and we will be sending you, if I can get a hold of you, out the Avalon meditation, spa meditation. So
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be
it's a
fun.
guided meditation with healing encoded in it. So you
Oh,
can get healing
wonderful.
messages and
Mhm.
one of Teresa's wonderful imagery guided meditations that she channels down. So it's totally wonderful. And it's from Avalon. So you can grab your Celtic roots. You've got that red hair going, rocking the red hair. That's Celtic roots, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anything else, Teresa? What would you like to say?
Nope.
Any more
I had a
questions
neat
for Teresa?
question, and then I was like, having so much fun listening, I forgot it. So it's okay.
We'll give you a
next time.
second. Okay. Thank you. And we'll hope to see you again on, Julie, because you're just a wonderful guest to have. And we really
Yes.
appreciate you. And
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the
Yeah, be a
opportunity.
part of our family.
Thank you. That's what if it does, it feels like family. So
yeah, you're all in the line. Yeah. The arms of the angels. And till next week, can you all be in those arms of your angels? Remember, ask your angel guide and they listen to you and they'll help you out. But you got to ask.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.